Hello, Mayhemers. Welcome to Mayhem Rockstar Magazine Radio Podcast Show, Season 1, Episode 3, interview series with Jymmy Tolland of The Lonely Ones on February 1st, 2025. We want to give a shout out to our wonderful supporters, Phil's Picks, Badass Radio Network, Tag Publicity, Asteria Entertainment, O'Donnell Media, The Evolution of the Lonely Ones, Navigating Challenges including during the COVID-19 pandemic, Changes, and New Horizons in the rock scene. The Journey of the Lonely Ones, an interview with Jymmy Tolland, hosted by Kyle Williams. This interview highlighted the resilience and creativity of the Lonely Ones as they navigate the ever-evolving music industry with host Kyle Williams of Mayhem Rockstar Magazine Radio and Magazine on Saturday, February 1st, 2025 in Columbus, Ohio. Jymmy Tolland, the lead guitarist of the Lonely Ones, sat down with Mayhem Rockstar Magazine Radio and Magazine and shared insights into the band's journey, current dynamics, and future aspirations. The Lonely Ones is a band that has been making waves in the rock music scene with their unique sound and energetic performances. Let's take a closer look at the talented individuals that formed this dynamic band that Jymmy Tolland introduced as part of the Lonely Ones. Tristan Woodruff, serving as the drummer. Tristan is the rhythmic foundation of the Lonely Ones. His drumming style is characterized by its precision and intensity, driving the Lonely Ones sound forward. Tristan's ability to seamlessly adapt to different musical tempos and styles adds depth to the Lonely Ones' music. Tristan Woodruff, serving as the drummer. Tristan is the rhythmic foundation of the Lonely Ones. His drumming style is characterized by its precision and intensity, driving the Lonely Ones sound forward. Tristan's ability to seamlessly adapt to different music tempos and styles adds depth to the Lonely Ones, making him an indispensable member of the Lonely Ones. Jymmy Tolland, the lead guitarist. Jymmy Tolland is known for his remarkable guitar skills and captivating solos. Jimmy's passion for music is evident in his performances, where Jymmy often showcases his creativity and host Kyle Williams of Mayhem Rockstar Magazine asked Jymmy of the Lonely Ones how they came together as a band. The journey of the Lonely Ones began with a deep-rooted musical collaboration between Marty McCoy and Jymmy Tolland. With having played together for over a decade, they have developed a strong bond through their shared love of music, navigating the inevitable ups and downs of the music industry. Jymmy states we had a big gap in our schedule and decided we just wanted to keep playing. We wanted to hit touring as hard as we could, record as much as we could, and grabbed life by the horns, so to speak. Marty and Jymmy formed the Lonely Ones with Jake Early and Tommy Johnson. The first single that was released was the day before COVID-19 pandemic started. Jymmy explains that COVID pandemic was a nightmare. It feels like a lot of people really kind of lost their footing emotionally and mentally, so to speak. I don't think I fared as bad as some people, but you don't choose how you react to once in a generation, once in a century trauma like that. It's really rough. However, as they prepared to launch their first single, COVID-19 hit the day prior to our scheduled release. The unforeseen onset of the COVID-19 pandemic brought their plans to a standstill. The pandemic forced them into an 18-month hiatus, during which they had to reevaluate their approach to music and their performances. By mid-2021, they emerged from this pause, ready to reclaim the stage and share their new material with the world. Host Kyle Williams of Mayhem Rockstar Magazine Radio asks Jimmy about the band member changes since they were founded and goes on to state, over time, people's priorities and desires change, and so it makes sense for them to stay in a band like Boba Flex, where we're playing 8 to 10 shows a year. It may make... Host Kyle Williams of Mayhem Rockstar Magazine asks Jimmy about the band member changes since the band was formed, and states that over time, people's priorities and desires change, and so it makes sense for them to stay in a band like Boba Flex, where we're playing 8 to 10 shows a year. It may not make sense for them to be in the Lonely Ones. Something that we're doing, 4, 5, 6 days a week, whether it's touring, in the studio. There's also been a lot of phone calls. But I don't begrudge anybody for coming to a point in their life where they want something else. Host Kyle Williams of Mayhem Rockstar Magazine Radio states, it happens to a lot of bands. It's common because of touring and recording can burn you out. Jimmy explains that Jake and Tommy, original members of the Lonely Ones, took their leave for both really good reasons. The path to success has not been without challenges for the Lonely Ones. The emotional toll of the pandemic affected many, including the band members. Despite these hardships, their unwavering passion for music filled their resilience, allowing them to push forward during tough times. Host Kyle Williams of Mayhem Rockstar Magazine asks Jimmy about the songwriting process and collaboration, and goes on to state that the songwriting process is fluid and adaptable, varying from fully formed ideas to spontaneous creations. Although Marty has relocated to Florida, the band maintains strong communication and collaboration, ensuring their creative synergy remains intact. Marty and Jimmy will deliver something almost completely done. Sometimes Jimmy will fully flesh out a song with no lyrics or melody. Randomly, Jimmy has been known to trip and fall, so to speak, and play something odd, and it sparks everybody's ears. The next thing you know, we're working on it. Jimmy goes on to state there's a lot of good with Marty being in Florida, but Jimmy and Marty are constantly in communication all the time. There's been several years where we've lived together at the same house, and we've got on the road for a month and then come back and live together for a month. So it's definitely an extra step to kind of keep that ongoing communication like we always do selfishly. Marty's my best friend on earth as selfishly. Jimmy's wishes Marty was still here. That made it sound like he's died. Marty is very much alive and well here in Columbus, Ohio on February 1st, 2025. But he's got his things he's got to take care of, and that involves him being in much better weather than we're in right now, and I can't begrudge him for that at all. Marty misses being closer to the Lonely Ones. Spirit Airlines, Allegiant Airlines, flights are cheap, and you can get one the night before. There's plenty of times we've had something pop up. Marty's on a flight, 8 hours later, and we're playing the show the next day. Host Kyle Williams of Mayhem Rockstar Magazine Radio asks, what's going on with the Lonely Ones? Fans are curious and concerned. Then Jimmy goes on to explain, that was by design. We put our last single out, The Bottom, back in July. Not long after that, we met a record label who expressed interest in signing the Lonely Ones, and we spent the last quarter of 2024 hashing out what a record deal in 2025 looks like and how that interacts with things we already had going on. But we just announced yesterday, actually, that we signed a deal with One Opportunity Records. Oddly enough, they don't have any Columbus bands except for the Lonely Ones. Host Kyle Williams of Mayhem Rockstar Magazine Radio asked Jimmy of the Lonely Ones, how excited are you to perform at Upheaval Music Festival and Rocking the Islander? And goes on to say, I'm really, really excited for Upheaval Music Festival. That was actually like a total out of the blue surprise. We found out about the show maybe 4 or 5 days before we announced it. I had no idea we were submitted for Upheaval Music Festival or being considered or anything related to that. Because you get the benefit of the payoff without sitting there stressing about if you're going to get something. So that's relatively new. That's, for us, that's going to be really, really cool. I'm really looking forward to that. Rocking the Islander is going to be a blast. I've done one cruise before in my career, and I've said it publicly a couple times, and I feel like a bit of a broken record, but it might be the most fun I've ever had as a traveling musician is taking a cruise through the Gulf. We're going to call it the Gulf of Mexico. I don't care what anybody tells me to call it. The maps I have at home say Gulf of Mexico. So I'll be traveling through the Gulf of Mexico and heading down to Cozumel, playing one show on the boat and having, I believe it's 5 days at sea, 5.5 days at sea, open waters, open bar, having a good time. It's beautiful. It almost feels unfair that I get to do it. Host Kyle Williams of Mayhem Rockstar Magazine Radio asks Jimmy about record deals and how they relate to revenue, and goes on to explain that the intricacies of record deals, emphasizing the importance of careful consideration during negotiations. Different deals can lead to vastly different outcomes for artists, especially concerning revenue from streaming platforms like Spotify. That's one of those things that is a very case by case kind of situation. I know folks that have been on deals where they're making essentially nothing, but I also know folks that have been on deals where they had a lot of juice and had a lot of control, making well over half the pie. As for ours, I'll keep that one a mystery. It really varies. And a good deal for one person on paper could be a terrible deal for somebody else on paper. So I don't even try to think too hard about pocket watching other people. I don't try to look in and see what everybody else's cut is or what they're getting, because they may have earned a better cut than us. Or they might have what I think is an inferior cut. But for them, it benefits them way more than it could ever benefit the Lonely Ones. Important items to note about the Lonely Ones. Communication. The Lonely Ones prioritize maintaining strong communication despite geographical distances. Important note about COVID-19. Jimmy explains that COVID pandemic was a nightmare. It feels like a lot of people really kind of lost their footing emotionally and mentally, so to speak. I don't think I fared as bad as some people, but you don't choose how you react to once in a generation, once in a century trauma like that. It's really rough. New record label. The signing with One Opportunity Records marks a significant milestone for the Lonely Ones. Upcoming shows. Fans can look forward to exciting performances at Upheaval Music Festival and Rocking the Islander. As the Lonely Ones continue to evolve, they remain steadfast in their commitment to their craft, focusing on their music and live performances. Acknowledging that growth and change are natural parts of life, the band has adapted to their new dynamics with grace and understanding. With their eyes set on the future, the Lonely Ones are excited to share their music with both longtime fans and new listeners alike. As Jymmy Tolland aptly puts it, it's all love. The Lonely Ones are poised to make a lasting impression in the rock music scene, ready to inspire and connect with audiences for years to come. Through determination and adaptability, the Lonely Ones continue to carve their path in the rock music scene, delivering high-energy performances, and crafting unique sounds that resonate with audiences. With new opportunities on the horizon, the band is ready to embrace the future. Thank you, Mayhemers, for taking the time to listen to the Mayhem Rockstar Magazine Radio Podcast Season 1, Episode 3 interview series with the Lonely Ones. Season 1, Episode 3 of Mayhem Rockstar Magazine Radio Podcast interview series will be posted on mayhemrockstarmagazine.us/Mayhem Rockstar Magazine Radio. Facebook at Mayhem Rockstar Magazine. Instagram at Mayhem Rockstar Magazine 1. Twitch at Mayhem Rockstar Magazine TV. Search for Mayhem Rockstar Magazine Radio on Spotify for all the latest podcast episodes, and follow us on Spotify for more podcasts to come. Check out mayhemrockstarmagazine.us for latest music news, latest concert and festival photos, show reviews, featured music coverage, music reviews, upcoming tour announcements, lifestyle, plus LGBTQ news, interviews, movie and TV reviews, and news. Thanks to our wonderful supporters, Phil's Picks, Badass Radio Network, Tag Publicity, Asteria Entertainment, O'Donnell Media, for supporting Mayhem Rockstar Magazine Radio.